This is Pilleater, and I record this on October 28th, 2022. Thought I'd get my thoughts down really quickly. I'm just walking the Barbados Island stroll near the trains. You could probably hear it. I'm just making some Super 8 films out here. I want to get down my thoughts, actually. Just filming a lot. So I remember the date, August 23rd, 2007. I was 15 years old, and in a few weeks, on September the 3rd, I would turn 16. 2007 was a very different era, but I clearly remember that year, and I remember that exact date when I was 15 years old. And my mom and my dad, for some odd reason, brought me to the circus. They thought it must have been, it's my mom's birthday, and she thought, oh, I want to go see the circus on my birthday. And my dad just went along with it and brought me, not my older brother. It was just my mom, my dad, and me. And it was probably in Harleysville, Pennsylvania, or somewhere out there in outskirts Pennsylvania. It began as an early rainy day, and then the sun started to shine by 12 noon. But they took me to a circus with a tent and everything. So I remember getting the ticket, going inside the tent, sitting down, and it was a very extravagant show with tigers and acrobats, flipping, clowns, you name it, all the stereotypes of a circus that would casually happen. I remember really enjoying it, because I think this was other than one of the most earliest times my parents ever bring me to a circus at 15. I think they did bring me to a circus at 12 at a Ringling Brothers, a mainstream version, but this circus was very homemade or very crafty. I remember there was a ring announcer. There was a guy and a girl, and they were very funny. And they had this exaggerated kind of costumes on. And I remember the ring conductor was saying to the woman, and he said to her, "Do you like cartoons, Julie?" And Julie said, the ring conductor, "You bet I do. I watch cartoons every day." And I thought about it, and I knew the woman was probably in her late 30s or something. She's probably 50 now, but I thought, this person really does. You can watch cartoons every day until you're in your late 30s. Again, 2007, different time, but I thought about that for a second. And I know they were just making a quirky joke to younger, quirky something kids, but I thought about that, and I kind of put two and two together, and I thought the happiness, the eccentric personality of a piped up, excited circus has to do with watching cartoons every day. And I remember the flipping and the excitement and kind of the pie in the face cliche, all of that. And I remember really enjoying it. And I remember the dead serious acrobats. They were probably Southeast Asian, Vietnamese, Filipino, definitely brown Asian, but just do the most craziest things ever with bowling pins and jumping through hoops and with the tiger and all. And I was just probably Laos or something. And I just thought it was amazing, how they kept a straight face and they were smiling and they did all this. And I thought it was really cool. Sorry, as we speak, I'm on the creek of Schuylkill River and I'm watching crew rowers, and the girls are singing Justin Bieber's Baby. How timely, how dated. But let me get back to my story here. She looked so happy and enthralled with the entire activity, jumping around, smiling, the cartoony looking face. And then when everything was said and done, she had this plumb, sad looking face, smoking cigarettes, just all by herself. And you just have this image of the beaten, exploited entertainer smoking a cigarette after putting a fake facade on. Now, this isn't the cliche. This is not what I want to tell. But something else also happened right after that. Sorry, as we speak, I'm on the creek of Schuylkill River, and I'm watching crew rowers, and the girls are singing Justin Bieber's Baby. How timely, how dated. But let me get back to my story here. So as she was glum smoking her cigarette, and on the side of the corner, this is behind the tent, I saw the white conductor come out. You know, the 20-something conductor who was telling Julie, the older woman, about cartoons. And it was just the conductor and the Southeast Asian acrobat. And then on her face, she grew a smile, and she got really excited. And the conductor went up to her, and they kissed. And they like kind of tongued each other, actually, like which little kids would call French kissing, for about 3 seconds. And he said, "You did great. That was wonderful." And she had this very strong accent saying, "Oh, it was nothing, something, something." And that is the turn of the story here. Is I thought in my mind, wait, the conductor is in love with the acrobat? Wait, this doesn't make sense. And not only if it's a story about watching cartoons into your late 30s every day, watching cartoons every day, the conductor who had a supposed friendship with Julie, that's a facade, and really the white conductor is in love with the Southeast Asian acrobat. And they probably, then it was weird in my head, because I remember my parents came much later, and they went back in the tent, and they were just like hugging, whatever, and I was just in the tent, back in the car. And at 15, I was thinking to myself that there was more to the story of just watching cartoons every day. That you have this eccentric lover. That you have this woman by your side. And, I remember other things that happened that week. I remember when Chaim FDM's Tohu Va'Bohu album came out, the Orange album. And I remember going to the Barnes & Nobles in Valley Forge Park, and knowing the album was there on featured albums, I would later come back to it and pick it up in 2007. Because Chaim FDM at that same time was going through a resurrection period, and people were like interested in them again. And oh my word, I think they didn't tour during the Tohu Va'Bohu album, but in 2009 they did during Blitz on a rainy day in Philly at the TLA. Or I think it was, the Trocadero, which is no longer in Chinatown. But, other things I remember in my mind, Milky Tracker, MySpace Music, me hacking and cracking Fruity Loops 6, or Fruity Loops 3 it was at the time, mixing with downloaded songs off GeoCities and Angel Fire websites. It was a huge, unique world of, understanding. I believe the first hang tie I ever saw was at 13 or 14 or something like that. And I was too afraid to watch human pornography until much later. But a lot of things happened during that end of August week before I turned 16. But that moment at the circus, about my parents taking me to the circus, about watching cartoons every day makes you a happy, animated person. The happy-looking Southeast Asian acrobat that was smoking cigarettes and not showing the true facade, but turns out she's in love with the conductor, the young conductor. And this is kind of my early Freudian interest coming in. And I think now, 16 years later, that little story and that little moment in time as my kiddie story is kind of paves the way of how I think and act today, and what I think about things in a Lacanian, Freudian, subconscious manner, and what it means to live the good life. It's not just going to the circus. It's not just watching cartoons every day. It's also the anatomy of the acrobat woman, about her secret love life, and how life can be like a circus, exciting and fun. You may be putting a facade on, but there's more to it than a simple day out in middle Pennsylvania. It's also a romantic lifestyle. So I just wanted to quickly elaborate the story there, because it always comes back in my mind once in every other time, and either I forget it and I have to remember it again, but it's a beautiful story, and I would like to write about it further.